Been playing with this string, learning some neat stuff with this ring and string here. Let me show you. Take this, thread it on, and then immediately it ties itself in a knot. I know, right? It's kind of interesting. But not only does it tie itself in a knot, but it will escape from knots. I'll let my lovely assistant volunteer from the audience, if you will, hold one end of the string. I'll hold the other. Put a knot on the middle. Duplicate the knot over here. As you can see, it is on the string. But then a moment later, it melts right off. Hand the string out to the spectator. They can inspect it. After they inspect it, hand them the ring. While they're inspecting the ring, we get ready for the next phase. I'm going to take this ring and the string. I'm going to thread it through. This is on. You tell me when you want me to remove it. Too late. Melt it off too quick. There. Well, in case you think I'm doing something tricky, you can see it even from my point of view. Okay. And it melts cleanly off. That's my ring and string routine. We'll take a closer look at it right now. This routine uses two different shoelaces presented as one and a steel ring. One of the strings is gimmicked with a magnet. We'll show you how to put that in and then teach you the moves for all three phases. The neodymium, if that's how you pronounce it, magnets come in various shapes and sizes, are very strong. They're very cheap, easy to find. I really like these. They're real small, very small, round, thin magnets. If you need more hold, you use more magnets. I have found for this trick, for this ring, I use 3 because you want the finished product, you want to be able to come up on the string and like melt it off so it pulls right off, but you don't want to, shake the string real crazy. So if it's too strong a magnet, you're going to be fighting it. If it's too soft, it'll fall on its own. This small size round one, I use 3, and then I can come in. You just pinch it right off and then let it come off your finger. So there's not much shaking. To insert the magnet, I use either an open paper clip or a toothpick. Match set of shoelaces, I prefer a bright color with a pattern because it shows up better. White shoelace or something's not going to show, or black might not show up as well. I like the brighter colors and some kind of pattern on it. I come right to the top, work this in without tearing, and just kind of spread it around so there's a big enough hole to insert the magnet. When you pop the magnet in, you work it down to the center. Doesn't need to be glued or held in. It's just going to pretty much stay right there. Different people's handling, some of them make it real loose and they can slide it up back all the way to the end and then hold it at the end and let people check the string. I don't do any of that. I avoid that by having the 2 strings. But once you've got this made, it goes in one pocket. This goes in the other pocket. The moves for all 3 phases are very simple. First phase, where it ties itself on, you can go from either end. I usually hold it like this and put the bottom end and run it up, because I like to go up and then I'm coming back down when I tie it. I don't know if it matters. You can go either way. You get it on, make sure they see it is cleanly on, and then when you pull it down, it ties itself into a knot instead of pulling off. What you're doing, you spread it, and instead of coming straight down, you reach in between them and you're pulling it out. And what it does is it ties a hitch. I think that's actually called a cow's hitch. I looked online to see the name. Now, if you just pull this, it comes right off and it looks suspicious. So you don't want to do that. Take this as you're coming down. I usually would just take one finger instead of like trying to spread it and grab it. As I'm coming down, I just reach in with one finger, hook it, and then pull it so they don't see it as much. But all you're doing is, by coming this way in between, you're trapping it from sliding down, and it turns into a hitch. Then I take it and like physically untie one side, untie the other side. I want it to look like as much of a knot as I can. So that's the first phase. I introduce the string and the ring. A knot appears in my hand. I kind of like that one. It's pretty easy to tell it's a hitch, though. I mean, if you know anything about knots, I guess maybe that's my fault for being a Boy Scout. But I still think it's a good start. The next phase, you have audience member hold one end of the string. You could have someone hold the other end or do it yourself. Thread it on, and again, you're clean. You're actually putting it on. There's no trick to that. It is on. But what you do is you take this ring, twist it towards yourself one time around, and it makes this loop. Call that a knot. So let me put a knot on this end, and then I'm going to put a knot on this end. And what you're doing is just a twist, and then look at how that's twisted, and come back on this side and do the exact same twist. So it's like the mirror image of the twist. When you hold it tight, it's on, and you can spin it around, it is on. But when you come to where it crosses over, the long piece crosses over the top, that's the way you've got to go with it. You stop it on this, and if it's pulled real tight, it's going to be hard to pull out. If it's loose, it'll slide right out, because the 2 different twists actually are removing it from the string. If it's really held too tight, you can pick up on this end and then pull it. If you pull it to the left, it will just tighten the twist. If you pull it to the right, so this top, see if I can get this, the top part's here, the twist is here. So it crosses here, the string is there. Go this direction. You come to the right, and it will just pull right out. Okay, we'll look at that again. The twist, they're holding this. I had to tie it to a chair because I don't have an assistant here today. Twist it towards yourself. So you have this twist. Take the other end and do that. You just tuck it in around the same twist. And that actually just removes it. This trick has been done for a long time. Usually it's under a scarf. You'll tie this on, and then you'll have your hand, and you put a scarf over your hand, and you magically untie it. What I do like, if you can get 2 people to hold it, You can take this hand over it, this hand under it, and then it gives you some cover to pull it off. But you can do it one-handed. And like I said, if it's tight, all you do is you lift up on it to loosen it, and then it pulls right out. It's really kind of easy. If you start playing with it, you'll see what it is. And if you pull it the wrong direction, it just tightens itself on. So the first phase, the string is introduced, a ring appears in my hand. Then 2 knots are tied. They're not knots, but you keep calling them knots and they'll listen. They'll call them knots. It's 2 twists. But you go, let me put a knot. So the 2 knots are tied with the help of the assistant, and it pulls right off. You can hand this out, and then while they're looking, when they hand it back, you hand them the ring, you put this in your right pocket. Without making a show of it, you pull this out of your left pocket. I learned that one from Harry Anderson. He was doing a lecture, and he does a card trick where he has a deck of cards inspected, puts it in his jacket pocket. A minute later, he reaches in the other side, pulls out a deck of cards. In a room full of magicians, nobody caught it. Because I was asking him, I was like, that really works? He goes, every time. Nobody sees it. They inspect it, you put it in your pocket, you just casually drop it in your pocket. And then you casually reach in your pocket to pull it back out. Just happens to be a different pocket. And somehow it works. Now this one is a little trickier. Again, the magnet's here in the center. What we do, it's all hand position is very important in this. Hold it between first finger and thumb. These fingers folded back. Between first finger and thumb, both of them, thumb needs to be up. Put it through. It is cleanly through. It is honestly through. The next 3 movements are done simultaneously. This finger, the middle finger, goes down and clips between the first and second finger. You start pulling around that finger. It comes out of the ring and pulls around the finger. But at that same time, you rotate the ring so the finger's up top and your thumb and middle finger are together. You do all 3 of those motions at one time, and it looks good. Okay, again, ring and first finger, thumb up top, fingers folded back. Put this in. Behind, make sure I was learning it. I kept going this way with it, and it doesn't work. Behind this finger, you have to put this hand up close, drop your middle finger back. So you're trapping the string between the 2 fingers. At the same time, start turning the ring as you pull the string. And so what you're doing is you're just pulling the string. And the ring is just there. But from the front, it looks okay. And then when you go, you feel it hit the magnet. You just fold it over, so there's that little flap. From the back, it doesn't look very good. From the front, it's not bad. And you keep it swinging just a little bit. Don't go crazy, but a little bit of movement helps hide it. And it's actually looks pretty good from the front. From the back, it looks terrible. Then you just go in and you can melt it off. Pull the ring off and let go. Again, don't yank it, because then the string will bounce around. You want to just pull it off softly and just say it just melts off. And it works surprisingly well. But you can also do a second time. You can do another phase if you want, where you turn and you show them your back view, because from here, it's still, because your hand is covering the movements, even from your back view, it doesn't look bad. But then when you get down to the magnet, you got to turn around and show them the front, because you never want to show them this from the back. But you can actually show them putting it in, because your hand is right here blocking everything. You know, teaching it, I'm having to keep my hand open to really show what's going on. And it's weird because you don't perform it like this. You know, I'm showing you, put your finger down like that. Then as you pull this out, you rotate the ring like that. But in real time, you can't really show it. It just happens. The setup is very simple. The gimmick string goes in my left pocket. The ring and the regular string go in my right pocket. Start the trick. After the first two phases, they can inspect the string if they want. When they hand it back, put it in my pocket, hand them the ring, pull the string out. It seems obvious, but it works. Surprising how well it works. Then you've got your magnet string to do the last phase. It took a long time for me to figure anything out. I didn't really care for this magnet string trick. It was cute, but I didn't have like a whole routine for it. And the provided routine when I got it was 4 phases of just this magnet string. It seemed too long, too much fake science mumbo-jumbo patter to make it make sense. I never warmed up to it. The magician that taught it says he's done it 15 years, carries it with him, loves it, gets great reactions, which is good for him. It didn't work for me. It just wasn't my thing. I recently learned these first 2 phases and immediately thought of this with the magnet to go with it. So I made a routine of my own. That's part of the fun. You can learn things along the way. Some of it you will use straight out of the box. Now, honestly, if you're paying for a professional trick, professional patter is not a bad idea. Sometimes you want to use it straight out of the box. Sometimes you want to tweak it for your own. Sometimes you want to just take one piece of it and put it with other things. That's what keeps it creative. That's what keeps it fun.
For more detailed instructions and pictures, please visit the blog at FreeMagicFun.com. Keep practicing.